Mr. Secretary, how are you?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Please give my best to your better half.
Well,
I want to talk about two subjects. First, the flooding in Louisiana. You were very generous with your time. You and Mrs. Carson, you came down and toured Louisiana. Our flooding took place in the spring of 2016 in North Louisiana, some in South Louisiana, and in South Louisiana in August of 2016. So let's call it 2 years ago. The American taxpayer has generally given Louisiana $1.3 billion to help us recover. That's the good news. The governor in my state appointed a committee to disperse the money. We've had the money a long time. Yeah. Thank you very much. The governor's committee has dispersed a grand total of $61 million out of $1.3 billion to taxpayers. Now, everybody else has got paid, including but not limited to the contractors. But our taxpayers aren't getting very much. And I wish I could tell you it's going to get better. They've set up a bureaucracy down there to rival anything we've got in Washington, D.C. Here's my question. We're probably going to be getting more money, thank you once again, American taxpayer, in CDBG funds, about $800 million. You're in charge of that. Right. I know you respect taxpayer money, unlike some. Would you ask your folks, please, to try to help us ensure that that money is going to be spent on people,
right,
and not on consultants, not on contractors, not on people's friends, but to the people who flooded. Just a thought.
Absolutely.
And please insist on that with this $800 million, because the governor keeps asking me and Senator Cassidy, get us more money, get us more money. And my response has always been, John Bell, the first question I always get is, well, how much of it have you spent that we already gave you?
Right.
And I have to tell the truth.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that with the advent of our CFO, one of the very first things that we have begun to look at is the grant process, how the grants are given, what the metrics and requirements are, particularly in terms of dissemination spending of the money. So, and it's particularly for the reason that you just mentioned. So that is something that you will be seeing the results of quite quickly. Also, with the disaster funding in general, we have cut a large number of the regulations in order to get money into people's hands much faster, working with FEMA, working with SBA, working with local state governments and officials. That is one of our prime goals. And I think with the disasters that occurred last year, we've already seen a vast improvement, and we're going to continue to work on that to improve that.
Well, I've asked Governor Edwards to get rid of his committee and just take control of this thing himself and put a select group of people in charge and call them in and say, start distributing this money to the real people who were hurt.
Right.
And I've been in government long enough to know that if he brings in 4 or 5 of them, at least one of them is going to say, oh, Governor, it's really complicated and I need more money for administration. That's the one you fire.
Right.
And then the other 4 kind of realize you're serious. And if you could help us on this CDBG money to make sure that they have a plan to spend it, that the money's going to actually be spent on people and not the consultants, so we can try to help these poor folks.
Yeah. You and I are completely aligned on that. We will be working very hard with you on that.
Well, and thank you for your leadership. Don't let them get you down.
They'll try, but they won't. They just encourage me.
I understand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.